Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy tonight on Dynamite, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Fight for the Fallen, Nashville, Tennessee. All the ingredients, right, for a fantastic match between these two legends, these two men who have been a part of wrestling history for over 25 years at this point. Jeff Jarrett even longer. And even though tonight's show, Fight for the Fallen, does include so many of AEW's young, up-and-coming, talented roster, this match that they're about to have on Dynamite, every single time that they try to shine a light on any of the veteran superstars for nothing more than nostalgia, than a nostalgia kick, pisses the hell out of me. Because this match, Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy, if I'm not mistaken, the first time we got it was way back in 2004. We had the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, back in TNA, NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time, I believe. And Jeff Hardy, young up-and-coming star at the time, recently fired from WWE, was in TNA wrestling out of necessity because he could not keep a job with the number one company in sports entertainment. And back then, it was an interesting match, to say the least. Fast forward 7 years later, 2011, we got Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy. And now, these two men are in equal grounds. Jeff Hardy has been a multi-time world champion at this point. Jeff Jarrett, sure, he's supposedly, or at least supposed to, back in 2011, he's supposed to be on the, pretty much on the end of his career, close to retirement, near retirement at that point. So that match makes sense because Jeff Hardy was poised at the time to be the face of TNA wrestling. 2023, Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett in Nashville, Tennessee, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You have to give them a special stipulation because these two men are so past their prime at this point that they can't really put on the quality of matches, the caliber of matches that they had back in the day. So why the hell are they still a focal point? Why the hell are they still a part of All Elite Wrestling? When AEW has so many young, up-and-coming, hungry talent that doesn't get on TV every single week, this match, Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett, has no story to it. Past, present, or future for AEW. So why the hell is it taking place on a Wednesday night Dynamite? To me, this is the equivalent of Ric Flair versus Mick Foley back in TNA wrestling on the Go Home show to Bound for Glory 2010. It's that bad. It makes absolutely no sense. It's supposed to be a ratings grabber, but for who? It's supposed to be a ratings grabber for the hardcore wrestling fans who are already going to watch your show no matter what. So again, if your purpose as AEW is to grow your frickin' audience, to grow your fan base, why the hell are you putting up Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy on our TV screens? Especially if it's just going to be a one-off, especially if it's not going to lead to anything else. These two men should not be facing off against each other. And I said this about a week ago when RVD, about a week, 2 weeks ago, when RVD made his AEW debut. RVD shows up perfect. He puts over Jack Perry, perfect. Disappear from AEW for months, for years, I don't care. He does not belong on regular AEW programming. These guys, RVD, Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy, all these stars of the past, especially for a company like AEW, should just be there to put over the new talent. As simple as that. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, to me, Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy in that stipulation is the equivalent of TNA's Hardcore Justice in 2010. It makes absolutely no sense. It's not going to lead to anything, absolutely anything. And in the meantime, they don't promote a fantastic match that, in my opinion, should be the main event of tonight's show on Dynamite. Most likely they won't, but it should be the main event because Orange Cassidy, he's the current international champion. He's had multiple title defenses. Successful title defenses. He's about to get to 30. And even though it's hard to remember a few of them, most of them, in my opinion, and that's on me, because haven't really been given a reason to remember his reign. He's facing off against Wheeler Yuta. Those two men should be a main event of tonight's show. And that should lead to a future program. And put the focus on them. But instead, we're getting Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy. We're getting Chris Jericho still having main storylines being the focal point of Dynamite at this point with Don Callis. When all of these superstars are extremely past their prime, and it's all because current owner of AEW, Tony Khan, cannot help himself. He cannot help himself. He cannot send these legends out to pasture. He cannot give these legends the hard reality that is that sports entertainment, even though it's a combination of sports and it's a combination of acting. Yes, characters, storyline work, of course, absolutely. But just like in any athletes, their time comes. Father Time takes away their ability to perform in the middle of that ring. And if they can't do it at their absolute best, if they can't do it in their prime, then at this point they shouldn't be a focal point of a WWE or an AEW. If you're just doing it for nostalgia kicks, I'm sorry, that's going to get you nowhere. If you're doing it for your hardcore wrestling audience, you're catering to them, I'm sorry, but that's not going to let you grow your fan base. And AEW drastically, desperately needs to grow their fan base. Because they've been stagnant and they've been in the exact same position for the past 2-3 years in their 4-5 year existence, when they should still be growing. But their bloated roster has way too many young talents that aren't being showcased, and like about a dozen legends that are showcased on a weekly basis, and that pisses me off because we're in 2023. We're about to go to 2024. We're about to enter the later part of this decade. So why the hell are we still focusing on the past? The same thing for WWE. Why the hell are we barely getting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and all these guys in their absolute best moment of their careers as main eventers, when in 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18, we still had Lesnar, Cena, Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kane, The Big Show, all in focal and relevant, dominant, prominent positions on WWE's TV screen. That's something I don't get. But overall, this rant is just about tonight's match. And I get it, it's just one match and it's just one segment between Jericho and Don Callis and Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy on Dynamite. It's 2023. It should not be happening anymore. That's just me. That's just my opinion. Will it be entertaining? Maybe. Somewhat. I don't know. Will I be interested in watching it? Of course not. Of course not. Michael Jordan is what? Past his 50s? I don't want him getting back into the NBA playing with Steph Curry and LeBron James. Hell, LeBron James should pretty much retire pretty damn soon. That's all I gotta say. That's how sports works. Sue me. So with that said, those are my thoughts on tonight's, what is pretty much gonna be the main event of tonight's show. Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nashville, Tennessee. It's very hard to think that it won't be the main event of tonight's Dynamite. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So with that said, leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on tonight's Wednesday Night Dynamite broadcast on the comment section below. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.